everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. This is your 8th Matlock Season 2 episode review. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. Yeah, it's the last episode for a while. I just got a notification. We will be returning at the end of February. Yeah, it's going to be a while. It feels very anticlimactic this year. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, there's just so many things going on my end. So I really don't like myself for not giving Madlock the credit it deserves for being such a great show. Even though when we started the premiere to now, it just feels like the energy is kind of shifted in my placement of life when it comes to reviewing shows. And I still love Matlock a lot. And just to get back into the episode properly, I thought this was a really, really well done way to kind of wrap up the first half of season two. When we come back to the next half, it's going to kind of feel a little bit more differently, and I feel like that is going to be for the benefit of the show. As you know, again, my only concern was ending season one, that we were going to continue this till the end of the show, possibly, which I'm like, that's going to kind of be a lot, so to speak. But we did get some confirmation stuff that I'll talk more about at the end of the episode. But to just cut to the point that this is just kind of where the show kind of needs to be now to kind of, get us through the next 8 episodes. And not that I'm saying anything negative about it. It's just that, again, when you're pandering the story a little bit, you kind of get into run into those issues. Like, at least, again, to talk about the creator's original show that I know of, Jane the Virgin. Exactly, the whole, there was a really big mystery. This is more like, just kind of like, what is Jean gonna eventually do with her life with the cataclysm, of all this. And honestly, again, I feel like with the well, actually, no, I think the biggest thing I remember from that show was like, when is Jane gonna lose her virginity. And I'm not gonna say anything about that, but regardless of the case might be for that one. um when it comes to Matlock, specifically, like, the whole, we're on the first trail, and I really do hope that we get to do more. It's just, again, right now, with how kind of season two was set to launch on a sour note, not relating to the quality of the show, more relating to just the SAC controversy it kind of had to go through to where we are now. It's kind of perplexing that we're not even in season three territory yet. We don't even have that renewal yet, and it's also stemming from I think SAG AFTRA is also going to go through. They are going for another renegotiation period right now. So we're kind of back to where we were a couple of years ago, where we just don't know where TV is going, where movies are going next. Well, movies, we kind of have a good solidified idea. It's just TV is, a year to year cadence. It's still something that, we kind of have to re-explore and stuff like that. So, I rather them, we take 3 months off, let them work very hard. Because they didn't have the same luxury that they did in season one, where, like, season one was basically already shot in the can, and then, season two is kind of being produced like a traditional season, where we have some episodes ready, but we're still kind of writing that last half while we're enjoying the first. And, I definitely do believe that this episode kind of feels like a weird season finale, as also a mid-season finale. It fits both of that terminology, as the way this episode ends. It's kind of like, just, it makes sense to what it is. And then when we do come back in February, hopefully we will be in a really good position to wrap up this storyline. And hopefully, if we do get a third, that we will be able to kind of go into some bold new territory that, I'm really looking forward to. Similar to how when Jane's the first half ended, and then we did a time skip. I think, honestly, the show could really, like, really get, like, a bit of a change boost. Because, like, as much as I love the show, I still love the show. I don't want them to run on their laurels just quite yet. I want them to be able to explore new dynamics, and that's where I believe we're kind of going to go very soon on that, hopefully speaking. But we'll see how the next 8 episodes go. But with all that being said, let's go through the Butcher recap and talk about the mid-season finale for Matlock. So we picked things up. I want to say, yeah. So the SD card that Julian procured for Olympia last week They have printed out every single damn photo of it, and how much did it cost them? I really don't know. That was a huge stack of photos. The point is that one of these photos has the silver herring to the whole, the whole shebang right now. They're just trying to figure out exactly now who exactly was there in the Australia trip. We already know the girlfriend. We know Senior was there, and now we need to know who exactly was there, and that's kind of their task at hand today to kind of figure all that out. To just see where's the next step. A lot of things are up in the air right now with them on the Senior front, so definitely them taking a little bit of an initiative and trying to like uncover some stuff in the midst of this crazy. Senior using the merger card to delay himself from being removed and all the speak. Like there's a lot of things on the bandwagon right now with that. So, but regardless, Maddie again, like really inching to get her teeth into something that is progressive to where things are at, even as they begin Christmas decorating, which for the first time ever, also as an aside, it wasn't a tube history, we do not have Christmas set up here in the house. We have been very delayed on my end with a lot of things going on. There just isn't enough time. It will be prepared after this review is over, but so sadly, I don't have my Santa hat. I don't got any of that on. I do apologize. It was a weird tradition to kind of keep in the motion, but it just wasn't meant to be this year. It was not meant to be. Yeah, but anyway, so back to it. So while Edwin is dying to get into Christmas prepping mode, sadly, Maddie and Augie has tapped themselves for sorting through the photos, going through the photos, and just seeing if there's anything of the sort right now that they can really, find as their golden clinch right now, so to speak. Even Olympia kind of, chiming in from a distance, prepping for her own holiday engagement as the group are kind of trying to comb through everything. They do manage to identify some of the well-bred executives, so they kind of do narrow down the possibilities of who was there, who could have enacted the final order, so to speak. But definitely it is something that is they're progressing it. They're progressing it as the holiday cheers are slowly beginning on that front. I believe from there, I believe Julian and the kids come over to Olympia's place to drop off the kids for gingerbread cookie making time. And again, it's kind of just going through the motions right now with everything going on. Especially with again everything, so much going on. And this is kind of curious to see how things will wrap up. We pick up the next day. Maddie and Olympia are on the elevator, kind of just talking amongst themselves, trying to, figure things out. With now today's the merger meeting day, so some of the details will be ironed out as Senior plans his escape pod to freedom for both the firm and from this entire Brexit stuff. And they're just kind of formulating, just kind of, they got a case today to go take care of, and it just seems like everything's going to go up without a cinch. However, sadly, Senior is at the receiving end of the elevator doors, and when they just assume he'll be his happy-go-lucky self, he's a little bit discerning, so to speak. He's not entirely the same Senior we know, love, and hate at the same time. Even Maddie and Olympia take notice of it and immediately are concerned that, does he know something about us? Does he have a clue about who potentially kickstarted the vote? Like, is this cause for concern? So definitely, this is definitely something that you need to explore about. I believe no, not yet. I believe we cut over to Sarah, who is attempting to call Billy. I don't know exactly what the order is yet. I completely forgot. From what I do remember, yes. So no. Actually, no. Sarah goes to talk to Olympia first about the case, about her opening speech and everything, getting that ready to go. However, she's riding solo this time as Billy has an important day today. He has a checkup for the baby, making sure that it's progressing as planned per term. And I do need to stop here and address that the character Billy already had his finale episode last week, which was anticlimactic, as we talked about in the premiere. This was going to happen. I had just naturally assumed that they were going to just call it a close and deal with it in the mid-season premiere. I am testifying that this is recently shot footage, which is kind of crazy to think about, that this was all shot 3 weeks. Okay, it's speculation. I don't know the timetables of things. I don't know. Again, they were in the middle of shooting when the incident happened. Let's call it to be. Um, what were the original versions of those scripts? We don't know. What was Billy's planned role for this episode? We don't know. We don't know how much of this episode was reshot or re-edited. I don't know. I do not know, and I don't think we will know for a very long time. But regardless of that, I could definitely feel like the all the Sarah scenes were purportedly edited out. And whether or not Billy was always set up to be off camera this week episode, I really don't know. Whether it was like the powers may be. Billy's not here, and Sarah's trying to get in touch with him, just trying to get some extra motivational support, especially after last week she admitted to him that she did take access to Julian's date book, and gave them to Senior, and especially with Billy just recommend her, do not get involved anymore. Do not reveal this to anyone. Just you and me. That's it. Take it to your grave, because this will not work out with you in any regard. The best you can do right now is just hunker your head down and hope we survive. That's all we can do right now. So definitely, she's kind of feeling the guilt of it as she goes down into the one of the meeting rooms where she meets with one of their star um, testifiers that they're going to be putting up the stand in a couple days from now, just making sure that he is set. The trial is that it's a firefighter related thing, a former one versus his current firehouse. As there was an incident months ago where sadly his oxygen tank wasn't properly working during a fire, and he believes it was self sabotage by one of his team members because of his sexual orientation. This was a retaliation attempt, and obviously the captain and his squad are saying no, this was just accidental. That's all that it was. Nothing really much to say about that. This is just a frivolous lawsuit to make some extra cash, and sadly, and the this particular witness could actually prove that it was actually all self sabotage for the reason itself. Um, so I believe also Olympia goes to speak to Julian about making sure, hey, I noticed your dad was kind of out of it. Do you maybe want to, check in on him, make sure he's okay? Maybe he knows something about the case or not. And Julian's like, okay, I'll do it. But he's very much like kind of questioning himself now, because like as much as he wants to help Olympia, it's still his dad. It's still very much something that he's a big concerned about, and that's something that he doesn't really want to get into. But it is the sad reality of it, where they're standing at right now with that. So he has really no choice but to go for it. So he heads off there to go take care of it. So Olympia goes in to represent, which I'm honestly surprised. Again, I was completely surprised. A double whammy when it comes to actors from shows that Joe has watched in the past returning. Because the client this week for Olympia's team is from 13 Reasons Why, and I forget his name, but he was Clay's best friend, who was questionable if he was a high school student. I really don't know. That show, I had plans for that show for a review series a while ago, and I'm like, thank God I decided not to explore that thing. But he was there, so it's really nice to see him again with a mustache. I don't have a mustache, I just want to stroke it like that. And his opposition, who is the two primary firefighters he's blaming, plus their captain, is one of them is played by Russell Curry, who plays the Red Dino Fury Ranger in Power Rangers. He was one of the last couple of Red Rangers on there. Sadly, he is a silent role. Very sad by that, but he does look good. He does look good. So anyway, Olympia is kind of phrasing it in there, making sure everything's starting it off properly with the whole matter. Maybe also moving to remove the I forget the name of the just the commoner section, allowing anyone to just walk in through, which is mostly just the firefighters who are going to probably get some biasm over there, because it's their captain, it's their team members. They don't want them to get punished, but at the same time they're like willing to get in on it if need be. So thankfully Olympia does get that motion to do so, but it's going to be a very quick and speedy trial, so they kind of really don't have much time to spend here. They really don't. We go back to the firm. Olympia try to catch in with Maddie with everything that's going on. However, there is a bit of a news update as the merger meeting has been canceled. This sends Olympia into shock mode. She tells Maddie about it. They immediately try to get on the horn with Julian, but to no answer, no regard of what's going on. So everyone's kind of in crisis mode right now, trying to figure out exactly what is exactly happening right now, so to speak. Um, I believe a little bit later, I might be skipping a couple things around. Yes, so no. Originally, Olympia goes to contact the senior's assistant, who tells him that he did nothing. Julian actually was the one to send the notification about senior's cancellation of his day. Olympia tries getting in touch. It doesn't work. She eventually does get a call through to him via him calling her back. And well, while Maddie's there, but Julian asks, "Hey, are you alone?" Just making sure this is a private, sensitive matter. Sadly, Maddie's phone does go off, and Julian's none the wiser for the moment. But apparently, Senior had a stroke when Julian went to go see him. Exactly what triggered it, who exactly knows? But sadly, Senior is hospitalized. He's in a induced coma while they figure out exactly how can they repair him. Obviously, it's all hands on deck. Olympia heads over to the hospital to go see him. She passes along the case to Maddie to take point in the deliberation process of it, with Sarah still providing legal research, as they're still down a man right now with the loss of Billy for the day. I believe we go over to the hospital. Yeah, I believe, yeah. Olympia makes sure Julian's okay. Julian was thankful that even Olympia was able to push him in the right direction, because had he not, who knows when Senior would have been found. And thankfully it all worked out to be. But the doctors are still very cautious on what his recovery process might be, because strokes, they're not easy. They're really not easy to recover from. They are not whatsoever. So I believe from there, we get back over to. Do we just go to the first deliberation? I don't remember, quite frankly, to be honest with you. I believe we do, actually, and I don't quite remember who they're questioning first on the bench. Actually, no, they're setting the stage with the client himself, as he is a more recent hire. He's still fresh in the squad, and he got a little bit more comfortable with them. And they're one of the annual barbecues that the captain throws at his house. He brings along his boyfriend, which after that is notified to the entire squad, they start changing they start changing their demeanor towards him. They start mocking him, start like really making fun of his orientation. He doesn't feel happy about that. Sadly, things don't work out. Then the incident happens, and he knows from a fact that these guys would have definitely used it as a joke whatsoever. But sadly, however, when the defense comes into play, she destroys his argument. Sadly, they cannot use the broken oxygen canisters from his point of view on the record. So sadly, that is a major blow to their case, as well as their secondary blow is that Sarah's the witness that Sarah was meaning to bring in for the case backs out as well, claiming he does not feel comfortable anymore to testify in front of the jury with this matter anymore. I do believe we slide back into the photos front, as they're just checking in on Senior on his condition, and there's a question at play here right now. Obviously Senior is no longer in fit health condition right now. Where does that stand from a legality standpoint? If they finally get all the evidence they need to bring Senior down, and they have to pull Senior into a courtroom, how are they going to be able to properly do it? Because again, they might be able to get Senior on it, but it wouldn't be a true victory. And if he is in medical need, what will that do for him for the rest of his life? Will that be fair to do it anymore? Because he'll be, not properly serving it, or not properly fairly serving it. There's some questions and moral dilemmas at their play right now on how they should proceed forward on this. Augie does get a bit of a big hit off the photos. There was one particular photo that clearly has Senior's hands in frame, and it does have a Brexit document very seen in the corner. So now all they need to do is reach out to Olympia to get the copy over to them, so they can compare and contrast, just to make sure that it is legit and that this is it. This is all they need to kind of confirm Senior had possession of the documents once and for all. That's all they need. But they need Olympia to get the access to that. But sadly, Olympia's busy making sure that Julian is okay. We cut to the next day. I believe Maddie reminds Olympia about the development and that this could be a huge win for them. But obviously, Maddie needs to get the document, and she's employing Olympia while she's busy handling the case and still handling making sure Julian's okay. And then she can write a letter of authorization for Maddie to go pick up the document herself. And Olympia's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. We got some time. We got some time. Let's just chill for a bit and just focus on the matter at hand here. Let's just do that first. Um, I believe from there we go we go slide over to Julie make it to the announcements of the firm that sadly Senior is no longer fit for the moment to be managing partner. So they do bring in some outside assistance for the moment. And because of the recent travesty, they are canceling the holiday party and they will just be sending out the holiday bonuses to the staff electronically via email as a sign of just, okay, we're sorry. So we're just going to give them to you a little bit earlier as, cause may be made for that one. We go back to court. This time it's the captain on stand, and while the captain does make himself to be a very stoic leader, he is a very compliance man. He does make sure everything's by the books. He's a very friendly individual, and that should not make him like a villain, so to speak. Maddie does point out to the fact, like, yeah, you're a very nice, lovely man. It's just you have all these barbecues every month, and it just happens to be all the compliance officials that have to have signed off on your regulations happen to be invited to your parties every single time. And he's like, well, of course, they're kind of part of the team, so I'm just trying to be friendly. There's anything wrong with that. So obviously Maddie does manage to kind of knock him down a peg and made that, well, okay, if you said that you personally inspected my client's equipment afterwards and you can properly testify everything was fine, then you would have no problem showing me the safety records, documenting the incident, and what measures you took afterwards to make sure this doesn't happen again. And he does admit, sadly, he did not do that. And that is a big blow to also the defense's case as well, as this kind of reveals some culpability on his front. It's still not over, so to speak. They still have many moves to go on that one, but they're just playing the cards in hand here. Sarah does go to meet up with her fallen out witness, and he does admit that some things have came up recently, and that he needs to back out of it. He needs to back out of the case and just do his best to remain as neutral as possible. Which obviously disappoints Sarah, but Sarah does notice he does have a pretty noticeable bruise on his eye, so they managed to cross-reference him to a bar that probably he could have had a fight with the captain, or someone could have rounded him up a little bit. It's basically like a leap of faith here right now, if that's even something to go upon. Julian meets up with Olympia, where he tells her that while he was going for his emergency contacts, he was able to find this contact info that just says Australia with the foreign number, and Julian's not sure what to do with it, and he doesn't give it to Olympia as a sign of transparency that, like, I looked through it and this is what I found, but he's only pleading with him, like, right now, can we just put this on hold? Can we just focus on make sure he recovers fine before we continue to find a way to prosecute him? Like, can we do that first? And Olympia does give her promise, but obviously she's working a different level field right now with that as well, giving that information over to Maddie for her to also checking on that the intermediate while she's working on the larger case itself. I believe Sarah gets a lead. There's a bar that may potentially have the a lead on things, which when they both go over there, it's a Santa film night, so you dress up as Santa, half all your drinks, which I'm like, it's a very interesting deal, so to speak. I don't know how you're making your profit off that. So immediately Sarah tries to pull it her way, first thing, but it doesn't really work out. properly. She doesn't really get too much information on it. By the time Maddie comes in, she manages to sweet talk him a little bit, revealing that he was here that night, their original witness, but it was not the captain that he was with. It was his wife. So it could have been a cheating thing, could have been something else, could have been speculation. Uh, Sarah gets a few drinks in her, and they're just talking about things. Sarah also admits to Maddie that she got a much bigger Christmas bonus than anyone else, so it's a bit concerning. Obviously, I think Sarah knows what it is, but at the same time, she's like still kind of feeling guilty about that. Once again, about the matter. They're looking for the photos again, and then Maddie discovers something that could be a game changer for the entire case. Where she goes to meet up with the witness again, and she does let him know, like, I know you met with the wife. I know it was just an accident, your bruise, like you said, but why exactly did the wife meet up with you? Like, is it because the captain's sick? And he admits, yes, that the captain, is not doing so well. He has an IV port in his hand, and that the health insurance of the FDNY covers it, and he knows that if he loses the case, he will get discharged from the service, and he will lose his insurance coverage, meaning that he will not receive the medication he needs, and that could eventually kill him. So it's a bit of an ethical dilemma. Of course, obviously, the lawsuit itself is based on fact. There was clearly self-sabotage, but his wording is that I'm either going to choose between my captain that I know for 15 years, and then I know that if I basically testify, I'm basically killing him, or do I testify for someone that I barely know, that, okay, yeah, he could have died, I won't take that away, but I don't have the same lineage with him. And Maddie only responds that you should have chosen the right side. It's not fair that he nearly died for, and of course, obviously, what the captain is going through is very saddening and very difficult. But he made his choices, and sometimes you eventually do need to pay the price for that. It's not something you can really get away with, so to speak, without some sort of consequence. But he's still very much like, I'm not testifying. I made my decision, and whatever you do tomorrow is on you guys. Olympia does call over Maddie to go back to the house. She does bring the official Walt Brexton document that's been in her care since the season 1 finale. Obviously, they're kind of, Maddie and Edward's like, oh my God, we have it. We have the golden gun. We have it in our hands. But sadly, however, when they're comparing it with the photo, it's not a match. Which is a bit concerning, though, because, like, wouldn't it all be identical by that point? But regardless of the case might be, it doesn't match. And obviously Olympia's about to take it back, return it back to her safekeeping. But Edwin's like, well, since you brought the document all the way here, and this is the first time we're seeing of it, if you don't mind, I'll take a look at it for the next couple of nights and read through it. Like, maybe there's something here that we can use against Senior. And Olympia's like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. It's been safely in my care for all this time, and we can finish it off also in my care. And Maddie's sadly stuck in the middle of it, because, like, she kind of sees the benefit of both sides right now, and even Maddie briefly does side with Edwin of, like, that, okay, maybe we may never ever get to prove that Senior was at fault here, because either he could pass away, he could still be in the stroke, or they don't have the final proof that they need, but someone needs to pay from Jacobson Moore about it, and they're briefly bringing back up Julian as a potential. If we can't get Senior, Junior's the next bet. Julian's the next best bet, which of course Olympia's not a big fan of. She just pleased with Maddie to give back the study, which she does comply with, and Olympia is briefly reminded of her decision when she goes off to leave, when she finds the family's stockings hanging by the staircases, which looks really, really cute, and Ellie's is still on there, giving Olympia a little bit of a weakness moment as she leaves the building. We cut to the next morning, where Maddie sadly has to secede the case because they don't have the star witness anymore. They don't have any really other cards they can play right now. She just gives a very motivating speech that, you just got to be fair here. You got to be fair here about the circumstances at play, it should not be fair that, again, we're living in 2025, we're still living through prejudice, we're still living through discrimination, and that this nearly cost a man his life. And that should not go without being punished. Sadly, however, the jury still votes in the favor of the captain, so he is not going to lose anything anytime soon. This is definitely a major blow, and I think this is the first time the team has actually lost a case in my recollection. But definitely it is a devastating blow. It definitely kind of, puts everything else into perspective right now. That it just didn't go the way that it seemed to be. We cut over back to the firm where Sarah had enough. She goes to Olympia. She tells her the truth that the reason why Senior found out about the merger, about the vote and everything, was because 2 months ago he asked of Sarah to take a photo of Julian's date book so that he can figure out what Julian's activities were. And she hasn't done it ever since. It was a one-time thing, and she promises to Olympia it will never happen again. And Olympia is like, "You are right. It won't happen again, at least under my watch, because you lost my trust. And because of that, you are being let go of my team." Which is like, shit. Honestly, was not expecting that. I really, really wasn't. Like, Sarah's getting benched. She's getting removed from the team. It's definitely not something I could have called. I couldn't call. She takes it in stride. She goes back to the office. She gets a call from Billy, ready to kind of unload on him about everything. Sadly, he has to report to her that Claudia had a miscarriage, that they won't be having a baby. And obviously Sarah's filled with so many emotions right now that her news about her being kicked from the team isn't exactly going to be in the best interest right now for him to know right now, considering the fact he lost his child. And it's something that is a huge blow to him. And she has to be there for him to kind of, be of support right now. I do believe Olympia returns back to the hospital, checks in on Julian and the kids. Julian did manage to take into everyone's advice to have a bit of a moment with Senior as a way of motivating him, that it's going to be fine, that it will be okay, and that there's still things for him waiting for him when he does wake up. Olympia consoles him for a little bit, but they're about to pack it up and head out. With all that being said, Olympia decides to call up Maddie for them to meet back up at her apartment, which when they do, she makes a huge leap in rebuilding trust with Maddie, that she decides to give her the Brexit study for safekeeping, and this is a huge thing for her to have. It's a really big move for them. They were originally like going for this entire season, not really knowing if these two would ever, get back to that point. This is a really big step for Olympia to take, for her to establish a real trust in Maddie again, and this could go either direction right now, but definitely she's playing her cards that Maddie will respect the privacy and the respect and the trust of this matter, and she will hold on to this document for the safekeeping. Sadly, for the last thing, however, Julian is outside the brownstone, having heard all of everything. He did get tipped off when he called Olympia the first time with the news of Senior's stroke, and he did hear Maddie's phone in the background. So that's kind of when he gets a little suspicious. He guesstimated with the Australian number, which was just a ploy. He gave it to Olympia, and that's when he discovers that Maddie's in on it, as he overhears her voice when the call originally goes into place. And then from there, Julian plants an earbud into Olympia's purse to overhear the conversation. Which, that's when he hears the entire thing about Maddie getting the Brexit study, that they're going to be moving against Senior very soon, and Julian's kind of flabbergasted about this, because where does he stand in all this? Is he next in the crossfires? How far does this go? There's a lot more questions than answers right now, and I'm really excited to see where this is all going to go in the second half of the season. But for now, that was it for this episode of Matlock, concluding the first half of Season 2. I think for me, this was a really great episode. I think the guest stars alone kind of won it for me. But honestly, the context and just, the case of the week, the overall, what's going on right now, Billy's goodbye of sorts. Olympia's team essentially like in this very weird place. Julian being their senior stroke. There's just a lot going on. There's so much that essentially, yeah, this will entirely fuel them for the rest of the season. But I'm just like, we got hit with so many big things at the end that I'm like, this is a whole new ball game for the second half. Billy's gone. We got confirmation we're going to get a couple new players thrown in there. I'm definitely going to throw the team for a loop. Where does that leave Sarah? Where does that leave Senior? There's a lot more things left to unpack on that. And honestly, it's just very surprising to me that, that so far we've extended the World Brexit stuff over 20 episodes and we're still pushing the needle of like, where are we standing right now on things? And definitely, I'm just really looking forward to it. Billy's goodbye, I'm like, oh, it is what it is. I thought they were going to go another direction with it, but, if this ends up being his write-off point, he just decides to quit the firm to spend time with Claudia and kind of rebuild where things might go with them. Again, it is what it is. We just don't have the actor anymore, and that's perfectly fine. We don't need him. And we're just going to move forward to Sarah kind of in this weird place of loneliness, and that kind of is already sensitive enough for us to kind of see where does that second half look like for the season. And even though Maddie and Olivia might be finally back on the same team after 8 episodes, 9, 10 technically if you count back for season 1, Julian knowing all this is definitely the bigger game changer of it all. When is he going to start getting involved in things? When is he going to start figuring out about Maddie's schemes throughout the entire year and a half she's been there? There's just so many more questions than answers that I'm like, yes, I really cannot wait to see where they decide to pick things back up when we do come back to the field next year. But with all that being said, I'm giving this episode 2 thumbs up. Let me know down below, what did you think of the mid-season finale for season 2 of Matlock? Did you love it? Did you like it? Let me know down below. We'd love to have a conversation with you about it. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Tube from ActionX reviewing the second season of Matlock. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Tube, besides our Matlock episode reviews. Right now, we are going to be a little bit off the air with What's in the Tube content. We return before the end of the year with the Rookie Definitive Season 4 review. Then the week after that, we come back strong with the Season 8 episode reviews. We do have a couple after the theaters hitting the stream this month. Hopefully, it's been very, very timely to get editing done on those projects, but they are progressing along. And then also for Matlock specifically, we will be returning at the very end of February with more from that, so stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please enjoy the rest of your holiday period. Enjoy your loved ones. Enjoy the time spent with them. I cannot wait to check back in the end of February, see how y'all are doing, see how things have been out, and to really kick off season 2, part 2 with you all properly, hopefully. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow us on social media for more. But until we see each other again, enjoy your holiday. Enjoy the New Year celebration. I'll see you all in 2026. But until then, peace out.